Hey, sports fans and friends, thanks for tuning in on the Shotgun Sports Network YouTube channel, Facebook, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please smash the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we post new content. Also, go check out all of our great shows on the Shotgun Sports Network. Scout and Catherine host the Elks Call, bringing you all the latest from the Edmonton Elks and Edmonton sports scene. Oz and Joe host the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast, talking about the Montreal Alouettes, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and CFL in general. And Clay, Will, and Sir Douglas host the Argos Fancast, where they discuss the Toronto Argos. All of these great CFL shows are all brought to you by Royal Retros. Click on the link in the description and use code Stamps Roundup for 10% off great Royal Retros gear from leagues such as the CFL, MLB, WHA, WFL, XFL, and more. This is episode number 16 of Stampeders Roundup, and this week I chat with Ryan Ballantine from 3 Down Nation about the beatdown the Calgary Stampeders put on the Saskatchewan Roughriders on Saturday. But first, let's do the Calgary Sports Update, brought to you by Rampage Coffee Company. All right, folks, let's be honest. Watching 3 downs of Canadian football isn't for the faint of heart. You got to be locked in, dialed, alert, or as my uncle says, jacked up on caffeine and yelling at the TV. That's why I start every game day with Rampage Coffee Company. This ain't your average cup of gas station sadness. It's bold, rich, and strong enough to make you believe your team can make a comeback, even if they're down 24-3 in the fourth quarter. And because I love you guys, you can use my link in the description and slap in the code STAMPS10 at checkout for 10% off Rampage Coffee for fans who live for the 2-minute drill. The Calgary Flames 2025-26 single game tickets go on sale on Friday, August 29th. Head over to the Calgary Flames website for more details and to see the full 2025-26 schedule and more. The Calgary Hitmen are set to open their 2025 training camp on Thursday, August 28th at 7 Chiefs Sportsplex on Tsuut'ina Nation. Evaluations will take place over 5 days and feature over 80 players with roster announcements coming later date. The Calgary Cavalry FC tied Atletico Ottawa 2-2 Saturday. Ali Musi tallied both goals for the Cavalry, who still sit in third place in the Canadian Premier League with 8 wins, 6 losses, and 6 draws. The Cavalry's next match is Saturday against the Hamilton Forge FC at Atco Field in Calgary. The Calgary Surge beat the Winnipeg Sea Bears 90-79 in Friday's CEBL semifinal and advanced to the CEBL championship final, where they just came up short, losing to the Niagara River Lions 79-73 on Sunday. Evan Gilliard led the Surge on Friday with 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, followed by Sean Miller-Moore with 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. Moore followed that up with 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist in Sunday's final, followed by Jameer Nelson Jr. with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. All right, let's get to the latest Calgary Stampeders news. The Calgary Stampeders went into the weekend hosting the CFL's best team and came out of Saturday's game as the CFL's best team. The Stamps dominated the Riders for a second time in as many games, winning by a score of 32-15. Vernon Adams Jr. completed 14 of 21 passes for 222 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Dedrick Mills had 16 carries for 78 yards and 1 touchdown. Jalen Philpott had 3 receptions for 51 yards and 1 touchdown, as well as 3 rushes for 31 yards. Dalen Baldwin had 3 receptions for 84 yards and 1 touchdown. Eric Brooks had 2 receptions for 29 yards and 1 touchdown. Friend of the show, Damian Alfred, returned to the lineup and had 2 receptions for 17 yards. Derek Moncrief led the defense with 8 tackles, followed by Sheldon Arnold with 6 tackles and 1 interception, and Clarence Hicks with 4 tackles and 2 sacks on Trevor Harris. Go check out Stampeders.com for more reactions, interviews, stats, news, and more. Sports fans and friends on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when we go live or post. And like and follow at Stamps Roundup on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Now let's get to my chat with Ryan Ballantine from 3 Down Nation.
All right. It's always great to talk about Calgary Stampeders football with other Stamps fans, but it's even better to talk about the Stamps absolutely owning the Saskatchewan Roughriders. My guest is Ryan Ballantine from 3 Down Nation, and we get to talk about a second Riders beatdown at the hands of the Stampeders. Ryan, welcome back to Stampeders Roundup.
Well, isn't it great to be here on a day where the Stampeders are 5-0 against the top two teams in the West Division? They swept Saskatchewan. They swept the Bombers. It's fantastic to be a Stampeders fan right now.
Not to mention beat Hamilton. So, I mean, we're humming.
Yeah, they beat Hamilton. They beat Toronto, who just, Nick Arbuckle putting up 430 yards this week, but wasn't able to do that against Calgary. Bo Levi Mitchell's worst game of the season, I think, was against Calgary. So really right now, when you look at this Calgary team and you look at their record and who they've played so far in the season, you have to be impressed with a 7-3 record.
I am very impressed and was very impressed with this ball game. Let's go over a few of the fine points. What did you think of the defensive PI call early in the game and the rejected challenge from Dickey?
Yeah. Football is a tough sport to officiate at speed. You are asking these officials to run with athletes that are running, 4.40s and getting down the field and trying to catch their hands at full speed. I don't think there was anyone in the press box that thought it was a pass interference call, and they said it's a shame Dickinson has to use his challenge this early, but at least he's going to win the challenge. And I haven't heard anybody in any media outlet anywhere defend that call, let alone defend the fact that it was upheld in face of a challenge. So, I'll occasionally speak about the football gods. And the football gods spun the football a little too far. Brett Lowther kicked the laces, and it was a 1 point thing. And you can have your 1 point for your bad PI call. And apparently the refs smartened up because later in the game, when Clark Barnes was effectively run into downfield and prevented from getting to the ball, they decided that wasn't pass interference all of a sudden. So, they learned from the first quarter to later in the game and figured out what pass interference was in the meantime. And it was 1 point and all it did is made the spread 17 instead of 18.
Yeah, the football gods actually were a little nicer to us during that drive because there was a drop pass in the end zone that could have been a touchdown for the Riders. So, we'll give them the point.
The Angels in the outfield swatted it out of the Saskatchewan receiver's hand and said you didn't earn this, and then pushed the field goal wide as well to make it a 1 point drive.
Now, since you mentioned it, what are your thoughts on Brett Lowther right now?
He's not gonna. If he starts Labor Day, I think that's a rare miscue from Corey Mace. I think you've got Campbell Fair there, who from all reports is hitting reliably from 60 yards in practice right now. I think Campbell Fair is going to be the kicker there. Whether or not they go back to Lowther at the end of the season, this is typical Brett Lowther. We've seen him struggle until Labor Day, and then all of a sudden he can't miss a kick. But at the same time, this team, the last several seasons, has won a bunch of games before Labor Day and struggled when Lowther was kicking well. So I can't, they're 8-2. Are they going to replace Brett Lowther with Campbell Fair? They should. But is that going to make a substantial difference in their season? I don't think it will. They're winning games with him kicking at 60%.
Yeah.
It's like we're in a time machine. Going back to Dave Ridgway when they called him Mr. Automatic or the robot or whatever it was.
Robo kicker?
The robo kicker. And his career percentage is 75%. If you were kicking that kind of efficiency now, you wouldn't have a job. And he's one of the greatest players in Rough Rider history because of the time at which he played. Brett Lowther is kicking. Brett Lowther's kicking bad footballs and causing himself a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Oh, you just been shut out.
Oh, we're good. We got. I can give you another 10. How's that?
Oh yeah, sure. So after that, the both teams exchanged picks, and then Jalen Philpott, that touchdown where he stretched out and the ball just, I think the laces crossed the plane of the goal line. Excellent play. Your thoughts on that touchdown? Yeah, no?
Well, yeah, I mean, I tweeted it at the time. I tweeted that Michael Jordan gif from Space Jam where he suddenly gets longer and longer and longer to get the game-winning dunk with everybody on him. That's kind of what Jalen Philpott looked like on that play to me. Credit the official. I gave him a little bit of grief on that pass interference, but the ref saw the call, saw that he wasn't down, saw that he broke the plane and signaled touchdown. So I think there was, it's good on the official for getting that call correct. And good for Jalen Philpott to finally get his first touchdown of the year. He's having a remarkable season, and the fact that he's finally now in the end zone, he said he felt like the goal line was running away from him for a couple of weeks. And he says, now that I've finally broken through, maybe I'll get a couple more here for the team.
Yeah, he almost had a better game rushing than he did receiving. He rushed 3 times for 31 yards, and his receiving, he had 51 yards receiving on 3 receptions. So,
yeah, he's a weapon. The interesting thing, talking to Dave Dickinson after the game, he said they need to get the ball in the hands of Jalen Philpott more frequently. And the more they can get Jalen Philpott involved in the offense, the better this offense is going to be.
Yeah, and one bright spot, of course, was Damian Alford returning. Didn't make a huge impact on the game, but good to see him catching balls. He caught 2 out of 3 targets, 17 yards. Nothing major, but still good to get back into game form.
Well, but also a threat, right? You have to account for Damian Alford when he's on the field. You have to put your best defensive back on Damian Alford right now because the guy's 6'6". He can go up and get the ball, and he can do things with it when he's got it, and he's incredibly fast. So as soon as you have to commit that resource to Damian Alford full time, it allows other receivers to get open. It allows them to make plays, and that's what we saw with guys like Jalen Philpott. Clark Barnes made a couple of catches, and also you've got your new receiver. He's playing in his second game, Baldwin there, who was the game high leader, who was just incredibly effective for this Stampeder offense.
Yeah, he had a hell of a game, 84 yards, 3 receptions, 1 touchdown. I mean, one thing Adams is really good at is spreading the ball out. He doesn't go to anyone exclusively, although this game it seemed like he was, but looking at the stats, I guess not. He did spread the ball out quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is there's not a lot of receivers to catch the ball right now with both Dom Rhymes and Tevin Jones missing the game due to injury. There wasn't a lot of extra receiving yards to go around. And Vernon only threw for 222 in the game. So he only had 22 pass attempts. Right now this Stampeders offense is using the ball efficiently. They're finding the holes in defenses. They're using the pass almost seemingly to set up the run. They had 145 rushing yards against the Riders for the second time. They've kind of bowled this team over in the run game and really kind of stepped forward with that. I had thought when Vernon Adams came here that he'd have that kind of, he was coming in from BC last year. Every game was over 300 yards. He had a couple over 400 yards. And I was like, it's going to be an absolute air show. And Vernon Adams right now is just making effective passes. He's still averaging over 10 yards per attempt, which means he's efficient with the ball and throws it when he needs to.
Yeah, the only thing I'd really like him to cut down on is those picks. He's always good for 1 or 2 picks a game. So,
well, I mean, here's the thing: we've got we've got an interesting issue with the interceptions, right? Because the first one he slips on the turf.
Yeah.
He scrambles up to get up and not take a sack, and then just heaves it downfield. It's a wobbling duck. It's right into the arms of Milligan, and you're like, that's not a good throw. But I think those throws have been few and far between when you look at Adams and how he's gone. And then the second one was batted up in the air at the line of scrimmage. And at that point, it's anyone's ball. I mean, if it ends up an interception, it's not Vernon's fault that that's an interception because the ball was batted up instead of batted down.
Yeah.
Right. So, but when you look at the one from Milligan, I joked in the press box because, of course, the Stampeders had just picked off Trevor Harris the play before they picked off Trevor Harris, and then Vernon Adams comes out and he throws an interception back. Well, if you look at the way those two plays worked, it was a net field position gain for Calgary of 27 yards because the Saskatchewan had scrimmaged on the Calgary 50, and now they were scrimmaging on their own 37 or something. So the way the math worked out, those two plays ended up as a 27-yard swing in field position for Calgary. So, I mean, look, can I live with a couple heave-ho picks if it means that you're going to be getting 30 or 40-yard gains just as frequently? Yes, I can. I'm totally fine with it.
What an interesting way of looking at that. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Vernon's going to throw – Vernon leads the league in explosive plays of 30 pass yards or more at once. Yeah. And so when you look at, okay, well, our net punt is about 50, 47, 48 yards. If you're throwing the ball 40 yards downfield and it's intercepted, is that the same? Is that not any different than an incompletion that you wind up punting because it was 2nd and 7 and you hurled it 40 yards downfield? No, there's no difference. You're still firing the ball as far downfield as possible, whether that's off the leg of one of our punters or out of the hands of Vernon Adams. I don't think it makes that big a difference.
I think we just discovered a loophole in the whole system here. That's genius. That's genius. Let's look on the defensive side of the ball. Derek Moncrief, 8 defensive tackles. Insane. Damon Webb, 6. Sheldon Arnold, 6. I mean, our defense is humming right now, safe to say?
Yeah, right. I mean, again, we talked at the beginning of the season, and I said, if this defense is good, this team can be great. Yeah. And this defense has been fantastic in every aspect. And again, 12 new starters from last year's defense, a wholesale change. Every starter from last year's defense is not starting on this team anymore, and somebody else is in that place. And they're thriving, absolutely thriving. So, I mean, big credit to the scouts, to Dave Dickinson, to the management team, everybody within the football ops that made all these changes and brought in everybody. They're playing high-level football against good teams. Let's not forget this team is now 5-0 against 2 teams that are a combined 14-1 in games that they're not playing against Calgary. They're 14-1 when they're not playing Calgary. They're 0-5 when they're playing Calgary, and that's Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. I mean, that's pretty solid when you look at how good Saskatchewan has been against everybody else, and Calgary's just beaten them from pillar to post. Yeah,
and I mean, our defense is missing Green still, and I can't. I'm really chomping at the bit to see Big Hill.
Yeah, I'd love to see Big Hill come in. The problem is the difficulty of taking somebody out in favor of Big Hill right now. And who do you take out? Because Roberts is playing really well in that linebacking core. You can't really replace Micah Tights because of the passport issue, and your ratio. So I don't know who you take out in favor of Big Hill, but I mean, the coaches are seeing him in practice. They'll decide if he's ready. I know he's ready to play. And he practiced in full all last week before being scratched. So, I mean, I think for me, the impact of Big Hill goes far beyond what he brings on the field. For me, it's about what he brings off the field. And he has been, he's been a first-rate leader throughout his career. And this was a team that last year had leadership issues in the dressing room. This year, those seem to be solved. And I think a guy like Adam Bighill is a big reason why.
Yeah, I mentioned in the dressing room there, I saw a video today of Dickinson giving away game balls after the game. And the atmosphere in that locker room is just amazing. It's ecstatic. They look like they're a team, like everybody's having fun, everybody's doing their job, and it was just an amazing video to see.
Well, the big thing for me is if you see the post-game videos that the Stamps post every game, if you want to go back, you can check, but I've been through all of them now. There's a cowboy hat on and Gucci sunglasses. Some guys have skipped the hat. Some guys have skipped the hat, but it's a pair of Gucci sunglasses and a cowboy hat. And they are insistent that the guys who do their interviews do them in those cowboy hats and Gucci glasses because it makes them look good. And so it's very interesting to me. Last year, even after wins, there was I don't want to say it was a grind for these guys. They won the game, but there wasn't that kind of atmosphere that you get right now. It just the joy in the room right now. And conversely, after a couple of losses, the anger in the room has been palpable. It's not, it's just, it's another loss.
Yeah.
It's, how dare we not live up to our potential is the feeling. And that's a remarkable one.
Yeah, and you see that as part of the media crew, whereas, us fans don't see that.
Yeah, the room is wholly different. Everybody's joking around, laughing, having a good time, and really supporting one another and really believing in each other. And that makes such a massive difference.
Yeah. All right. I know you got to go. So really quick, 2 quick questions regarding the rest of the CFL season. Number 1, anything surprise you so far? And number 2, who's your MOP candidate right now?
Well, I mean, I'll just keep on my Stamps glasses here. And Vernon Adams is the MOP right now. The guy's undefeated when he starts and finishes a game in reasonable weather. Undefeated. So as good as some other guys are from a statistical standpoint, I think Vernon Adams has been absolutely outstanding in leading this Stampeders team back to where they belong, in my mind. Right at the top of the standings, right at the top of the power rankings. And I believe that they are going to chase down the Saskatchewan Roughriders and host the West Final here. If they do, there's no question in my mind that Vernon Adams Jr. should be MOP. As far as surprises, it's not a surprise that the East Division sucks. It's not. Because they've done it for 30 years in a row. What's surprising is that they've done it for 30 years in a row. I don't think there's a question in my mind that we're not going to have a Western team cross over, and whether or not that's Edmonton or BC, it still remains to be seen. But I think we're going to get a crossover. And at that point, it's sad. It's sad that the East sucks all the time and that they can't fix it. And no matter what the CFL does, 2 teams in the East are going to be terrible and 1 team's going to go across. Now, for me, hopefully that means the Edmonton Elks will go across in the crossover and we can finally get the Battle of Alberta Grey Cup that I've been pining for since the crossover began. And that's what I'm truly hoping for, is to go into Winnipeg with a Calgary versus Edmonton Grey Cup and just have that play out in front of that sellout crowd.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been written before, but that might be a good article for you to write here. What's wrong with the East and why can't they win?
I pitched it this week. Somebody said we should track down some stats and run through some things over seasons. But generationally, the East Division has been bad for as long as I can remember. There's always a threat of a Western crossover. Even if it doesn't happen every year, there's talk about it 16 or 17 games into the season.
Mm-hmm. All right. Always good chatting with you, Ryan, about Stampeders football. And next time we chat, hopefully we'll be talking about a first-place Calgary Stampeders team.
Yeah, I hope so. Right now, they're first in the power rankings and number one in our hearts.
That's right.
So they can continue to be that for now. I agree. Hopefully, towards the end of the season, we'll be seeing them in position to host that West final and finally kind of get out of this Winnipeg dynasty that we've seen as they continue to cough up Grey Cup after Grey Cup and send those all to the East.
Yeah, all right. I'll get you off to the wife there. Give her a happy birthday from me.
I will do. She's she's home now, so it's time to head out and cook her a nice birthday dinner. And
nice. Yeah. All right, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
That does it for me here at Stampeders Roundup. Big thanks to Ryan Ballantine from 3 Down Nation for taking time out of his busy schedule and his wife's birthday to chat with me. Go check out all the great CFL shows on the Shotgun Sports Network, including Argos Fancast, Rouge, White, and Blue, and The Elks Call. For myself and my friends on the Shotgun Sports Network, thanks for tuning in.
Here we go! Ready?